Joe Biden, to be fair, Joe Biden tweeted out today that he's not for this. He's not for this madness. Let me get his tweet for you. Joe Biden says, "I have a better idea. Give people coronavirus economic relief and don't hold their hard-earned benefits hostage." That sounds nice, but there's nothing else there from Joe Biden. Donald Trump is giving you a gift. If you actually gave a damn about workers, and if you actually were allowed to propose things without your big mega donors from Wall Street's permission, because he's not allowed to do things without his master's permission, the end of that, what that tweet could say, if he had any integrity, "I have a better idea. Give people coronavirus economic relief, like $2,000 a month for individuals, $4,000 a month for married couples, and an additional $2,000 a month per child, rather than trying to steal from their Social Security." That's what a candidate with actual moral fiber, ethics, substance, vision, actual ideas would say. But candidates like Biden, who don't have any substance, and their entire campaign is an anti-Trump campaign, they say, "I have a better idea. Give people coronavirus economic relief and don't hold their hard-earned benefits hostage," in response to the robbing Social Security plan. Another wonderful platitude today was, "Don't let anyone tell you differently. We have the power to write the future we want for our country." Oh, God. I'm getting emotional with these platitudes from Joe Biden. Well, here's the problem, Joe. Here's the problem. And to be fair, it is Trump and the Republicans that are currently trying to loot your Social Security, although it seems that there are Democratic researchers and advisors to Joe Biden's campaign, that Natasha Sarin is an advisor to his campaign. I'm sure Lawrence Summers is on board with this nonsense. What's truly astounding to me is, and it shows you that it's not even Joe Biden who's making the decisions here, because any politician with an ounce of talent would see, this is a populist moment. We're in a Great Depression level here. 25% real unemployment. I'm going to put forth not just that Trump is the Antichrist, but Trump and the Republicans are not here to rescue you from the mess they created. $2,000 a month individuals, $4,000 a married couple, per married couple, plus another $2,000 per child. For as long as it takes, the government will take care of it. I'll sign it on day one, and we'll put it through. It's as simple as that. That's all he has to do. But his donors will not allow it. They will not let him do that. Why? Because to these sociopaths in the banking industry, the hedge funders, not all of them. My brother is a hedge funder. He's a good guy. But I'm talking about people that make a lot more than my brother. Some of whom are Joe Biden's top donors, by the way. When they don't want an ounce of consistent, stable relief going to Americans, like a universal basic income, like a government jobs program. Because if you give workers relief, if you give working class people relief, what does it allow them to do? Once you take the noose off their neck, sorry to be so graphic, workers might get the idea to start organizing. Workers might get the idea to start, creating more unions, demanding collective bargaining. This made me furious reading this. Joe Biden writes an op-ed in the Washington Post. How the White House coronavirus response presents us with a false choice. So if you haven't noticed, Joe Biden apparently thinks Hillary Clinton ran such a great campaign against Donald Trump that he's doubling down on that campaign. Because This short op-ed that I would put every last dollar of my savings down, he did not himself write, says absolutely nothing about what he would do. It's all anti-Trump and no vision. The coronavirus to date has taken the lives of more than 79,000 Americans. 1 of every 5 U.S. workers has filed for unemployment, with the unemployment rate now the highest since the Great Depression. It's an extraordinary moment, the kind that begs for urgent, steady, empathetic, unifying leadership. Well, I agree so far, so tell us, Joe, what is going to be that urgent, steady leadership? I don't give a damn about the unification. I don't care about your empathy. What are you going to do to provide people the money they need to keep their children fed? What are you going to do to provide people the health care they need to not die during a global pandemic and go to the doctor? What are you going to do, Joe? But instead of unifying the country to accelerate our public health response and get economic relief to those who need it, Trump is reverting to a familiar strategy of deflecting blame and dividing Americans. Here we go. His goal is as obvious as it is craven. He hopes to split the country into dueling camps, casting Democrats as doomsayers, hoping to keep America grounded, and Republicans as freedom fighters, trying to liberate the country. It's a childish tactic and a false choice that none of us should fall for. I'm not going to bother reading the rest of this to you because there's nothing in it that specifically talks about what the hell he is for, what the hell he will do as president for all those struggling and desperate families out there, including many of you watching. It's all how terrible Trump is. Again, the solution isn't a mystery. The Trump administration could focus on producing and distributing adequate testing. Go figure, we need better testing? What a novel concept. And protocols that conform with the guidance of public health experts. Doing so would speed up the reopening process considerably and make it a whole lot more effective. The administration is fully aware that this is the right path too. After all, the president and his staff are now reportedly receiving daily tests. So the best thing Joe Biden has to come up with is we need more testing. I think my 5-year-old nephew, Heath, could come up with that. If Trump and his team understand how critical testing is to their safety, and they seem to, given their own behavior, why are they insisting that it's unnecessary for the American people? And why does the president insist on trying to turn this into yet another line of division, pitting strained, grieving Americans against one another across manufactured battle lines of health and the economy? So let me just translate all this for you so that it's very simple. I want to be clear on a few things here so nobody gets it twisted. Donald Trump is ultimately to blame for how high the death count is in America. Donald Trump is ultimately to blame for the suffering we're all experiencing. I mean, we take the Democrats on here every day, but let's not make it seem like Trump is innocent here. His ineptitude, his ignoring his top advisors, his ignoring public health experts in late January that this was coming and they needed to urgently act then, is why we have this high death count. Obviously, listen, Jesus could be president, people were going to die. It's not to say that nobody was going to die. Of course, people would die. But from everything I've read, if Trump would have acted sooner, there would be significantly less casualties. If Trump would have done a lockdown, I know, our civil libertarians watching don't like that thought, but I'm sorry, your freedom to go out and, act stupid during a highly deadly virus does not come before my freedom to want to live. That's what I believe. So Trump is ultimately, the buck stops with the president. He is to blame. But the Democratic Party did not have to go along with the original $2 trillion bailout. From what I remember, Joe Biden wasn't speaking out about the ridiculous notion that we're giving. I mean, you're talking once it's leveraged, anywhere from $4 to $6 trillion to multi-billion-dollar corporations that do not need a bailout. They're coming after the fact. Joe Biden is indignant at the lack of oversight. Well, where was your indignity at the fact that we were giving trillions of dollars to Boeing and Amazon and big banks and big corporations that do not need the money? Nancy Pelosi said, oh, no, it's just a pass-through. We're just giving the money to these big corporations. It's a pass-through. It's going to their workers. No, it's not going to their workers. So Biden, Pelosi, Schumer, none of these Democrats were against the actual fact of giving them the money in the first place. They didn't have to give them the money. They could have, I know it's a radical concept for the Democratic Party, fought. They could have fought against it. And you know what? The public would be on their side, because the public would not have any tolerance for giving massive multi-billion-dollar corporate conglomerates trillions of dollars as we wait for the crumbs. Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statuscoup.com where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statuscoup.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you.